Hi everyone, welcome to Module 1 or Week 1 of our EDD 814 or Applied Ethics course. This week is essentially about foundations of ethical leadership. And I also want to acknowledge that some of this information, especially here in Week 1, might also relate to some of the other work that you've done in this program because, although this course is about applied ethics, we have this running thread throughout our program that tries to really hone in on ideas related to ethics, equity, and social justice. So I'm not surprised if there's been other assignments where we've also thought ethically. We'll kind of try to pull everything together specifically in this ethics course. So here in Week 1 is kind of an orientation week, but we are diving into a little bit of the content. So there are some lessons. One of the lessons is about a course orientation that gives you kind of the rundown of the course, some of the rhythms, asks you to review the final paper, and some other things related to some of the weekly submissions that you might have as part of this course. So do make sure that you take your time with that course orientation lesson. With that still course orientation-esque, we're going to explore ethical thinking with AI in this course. So I've designed some lessons or some activities where you will actually engage with AI to help kind of like further our own ethical understanding of things or help us analyze certain situations using a certain ethical framework. So you'll see that. It's not going to be here in Week 1. We're just giving you a heads up that this is how we'll be using it. We'll use it a little bit later in the course. But I just want to kind of prompt you to that. We'll also kind of survey and introduce ourselves to this like conceptualizations of ethical leadership. There are a few short videos so you can hear some experts in ethical leadership and folks who are, maybe a part of ethical leadership centers. There are centers throughout the United States and probably also the world. These all come from the U.S. That give their take, give their kind of their description, their definition of what does it mean to be an ethical leader. Again, this is a whole program on leadership. So some of these ideas you might have been thinking about already, or maybe they're also just like part of you, which is great. We're kind of using this as a way to I know you've been in dissertation land a little bit with our research action plan course, and some of you might still be awaiting IRB. So we're still, we're diving again into these ideas before we really hit the ground running with your actual dissertation next course. And then a sense of what is ethics, which is, a great way to start in terms of Week 1. And you'll see here in the short reading, it's what is ethics? And then also what is ethics not? And that can be a really, sometimes in the sense of, we can have examples, but counter examples are also really helpful for us to understand. You have one assigned reading this week titled, I'm going to say maybe the authors are Jerkowitz and Jacquelin. I'm not sure. I'm probably not doing a great job announcing their surnames. But you can lead a man or woman or person to oughta, but you can't make him, her, them think. The disparity between knowing what is right and doing it. So this reading will give us some foundation that you'll actually bring into your assignment. Before we jump into that, one of the key rhythms course orientation-wise for this course, because this course is going to serve we're doing two different things. Yes, we're diving into applied ethics, but you and your dissertation chair, maybe it's me, maybe it's someone else, are also helping to ensure that all of your dissertation-related things are all in order in preparation for 815. 815 is data collection analysis part 1. So that's where you actually start your PDSA cycle, you start your study. So to do that, one of the rhythms of this course is to download and submit a status update form, and you'll submit these each week. Part of what you'll need to do this week is schedule some DIP chair check-ins, and there is a page somewhere in Module 1 with instructions for how to do that. So go ahead and schedule them out, and then even instructions of how many we expect how many your chair expects you to schedule with us for this course for sure, kind of like a bare minimum. These are touch points. But you'll also see in this course, a part of your assignment is a DIP update, a status update. In this status update, you'll be doing a few things. You'll be updating status on DIP related things, feel like I'm just repeating myself. But some of us are in different spots. And so this is, again, time for all of us to come in together. Some of your status of some of your DIP items, you might not be able to read them on the screen, but there's a document, a template there for you to download. Might be related to your IRB proposal or your IRB approval letter. Some of you might have finished your chapter 3 in an earlier course. Some of you might still be working on it. And so this is, again, just kind of some safety measures set in place, as well as organizational approval. It is highly likely that it takes a little bit of time to get organizational approval post IRB, right? So again, these are just some kind of, you can think of this as a checklist and a status update. There's also, I've listed down here some of your 814, your big items. Actually, this bottom, I'll take that off the template, but there's no final self-assessment. There's just your final paper. But mostly to keep it there on the list of like, this is also something you need to be doing over the course of the 8 weeks, is to be working on your final paper, and you'll have some nudges there. So the top form of this status update has DIP related status, like are things complete? Are they approved? Are they in progress, etc. The second part is a DIP weekly work log, and this is a rhythm where this idea, like we can't always, it takes time to engage in our dissertation work and even to write our dissertation. And so some of the things that you might even be working on this class might even include starting some of your planned stages, especially if you already have IRB approval, if there are things that you can work on, if there are some meetings you can set, or you can go ahead and start recruiting, all depending on like the nature of your study. Again, everybody's going to be different, but if you do have IRB approved and recruiting participants or getting things set up in the background makes sense, then you can do that. Can you also wait till 8:15? Yes. But again, every organization is different. So this will just give you some kind of a log of attending to your dissertation, or tending to different elements of your dissertation, whether you're still working on finalizing a chapter, whether you are drafting out your consent forms, getting your instruments really ready. You know, you submitted your instruments in one form for IRB, but maybe you're putting them into an online form. And so this is also tasking yourself with like, okay, there's still some steps I need to do before I can hit the ground running. Here are all the things that I'm working on in the background. Now, with this weekly work log, you'll fill it out this week. But then for week 2, you'll fill it out again, but you'll copy and paste this and add it to like on top of the other one. So every week you're going to turn in one file, but we'll slowly see all of your weekly work logs kind of logged in that one document. So each week you'll copy and paste, add a new week, and then change the dates and show your work log. Then the next week you'll do the same. So in week 3, I should see 3 total weeks. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, I'll see 4 total weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So, and there's little notes here, like it's not expected for you to work on your dissertation every single day, but this does help to inform myself or to inform your chair some of your progress and whether or not you're actually working on it. This is also for accountability. I've been there. This is also part of, I know this, I've worked with so many doc students over the past many years that sometimes just sitting and thinking and stressing about our dissertation work doesn't actually equal action. Like we're not working on it if we're just thinking. Like thinking and ideation and brainstorming is great. But if it's like, gosh, I really need to write this. Gosh, I really need to create that form. Gosh, I really need to do that. That's not really doing the thing. This is actually saying like, oh, I need to do it. I need to log it. I need to submit it to my chair to stay accountable. You also have, because again, some of you are working on different aspects, a DIP items module that is at the very, very end of your modules page. So in your course navigation, if you go to modules, you'll see it after week 8. And it's also linked on the home page. It'll see DIP items. This is if you need to submit some of these things for your chair to review. We don't want you emailing any of your assignments or any of your dissertation related stuff when you're in course, when we're like in session. And so this is a Dropbox for you to submit some of those things. Again, this is a course where because you may have submitted your IRB at the very end of 813 and maybe you had some revisions and you need to resubmit it, but you need it to your chair to review it, that's where you would submit your IRB proposal in this Dropbox. If your IRB proposal is already done, already approved, you do not need to submit your IRB proposal here. And you'll see instructions for that. This Some of these in particular are only for if you need feedback and your chair is asking you to submit these things. Same thing with measures and instruments. Some people might be finalizing measures and instruments or got some approval for IRB to continue working on them. And if you want feedback, this is where you submit them. Same thing for Chapter 3. Now, once you have IRB approval and your organizational approval, those go in here into this Dropbox, Assignment 3 Dropbox, and Assignment 5 Dropbox. Even if you already submitted these in 813, please resubmit them again. As a program, we're trying to figure out like where are we capturing this documentation as a final form, make sure we have them all together. So I, as a chair, don't have some of the forms in 813 and some of them in 814. I'm just going to have them all 814 because we need them all before 815, before you actually go in and start collecting your data. So the two things that even if you submit them earlier, I'll need your IRB approval letter and your organizational approval letter. Other things, if they're submitted and approved, good. Don't resubmit them unless for some reason your chair asks you to. So this might be something that you bring to your first chair check-in and be like, hey, what do I need to submit here? What's the status of everything? You should know the status of many of those things, but this module's here. And the other reason, like this is maybe a new rhythm, this is here as its own module. So it's not hiding in any of the weeks, right? It's not hiding in any of the applied ethics content weeks. It's its own module. You know exactly where to go if you need DIP related feedback. Yep. Okay. I'm imagining you're all live, but you're not. So you have really 2 assignments for week 1. There's a discussion identifying your personal ethical anchors, and this builds on the assigned reading. You can lead a man to audit, but you can't make him think. So make sure you attend to that reading before you engage in the discussion. And then your first DIP status update, I'll call it week 1 DIP. Maybe I should have the word status in there. You'll notice that what's due week 1 in that status update is schedule your chair check-ins. So make sure you've done that. So when you submit your status update form for scheduling chair check-ins week 1, it should say complete, right? So that's what we're needing. If there are other things on there that you can go ahead and update, like your Chapter 3 is approved and good to go, you can put complete and your chair will approve it, etc. If some of those things are in progress, tag them as in progress. And then for that weekly work log, did you do anything this week related to your DIP? And if you did, log it on those days and submit that. You'll also see that there are spots for questions that you can ask questions to your chair. All right, that's it for week 1. This first module overview video is probably going to be a little bit longer than the others because we kind of had to do some course orientation stuff, but do be on the lookout. Every single overview page will have a module overview video. So make sure that first thing you do when you open up the overview page is you watch the video to get oriented and then take a look at all the other stuff, the links, the things you need to do for the week. All right, I hope you have a great week. Take care.